should probably pause the. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to our Story Fellowship Hour. I'm going to hand it off to Dennis Jones, our reader of the amazing adventure that we've been on together with the Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer book. And take it away, Dennis.
So, spun from his grasp, even the weapons lying on the ground were expelled from the island, blasted into the darkness like shrapnel. The only one left holding a weapon was me. Without his flaming scimitar, Seward didn't look so confident. Tricks and childish magic, he snarled. You cannot defeat me, Magnus Chase. The sword will be mine. Not today. I threw the blade. It spiraled toward Seward, passing over the giant's head. Seward grabbed for it and missed. What was that? The giant laughed. An attack? No, I said. That was just your exit. Behind Seward, Jack slashed the air, ripping the fabric between the worlds. A zigzag of fire burned on the ridge. My ears popped as if someone had shot out the window in an airplane pressurized cabin. Seward and the other fire giants were sucked screaming into the rift, which closed behind them. Bye, Jack called. Catch you later. Except for the outrage snarling of the wolf, the island was silent. I stumbled across the field. I fell to my knees in front of Gunilla. I could tell immediately that the Valkyrie captain was gone. Her blue eyes stared into the dark. Her bandolier was empty of hammers. Her white spear lay broken across her chest. My eyes stung. I'm sorry. For 500 years, she'd been in Valhalla collecting the souls of the dead, preparing for the final battle. I remembered how she'd scolded me, even gazing upon Asgard. You have no sense of reverence. Reverence.
Yeah.
In death, her face seemed full of wonder and awe. I hoped she was gazing upon Asgard the way she wanted it to be, filled with azure, all the light burning in her father's mansion. Magnus called TJ. We have to go. He and Mallory were struggling to carry Halfborn Gunderson. X had managed to dig his way out from under the fire giant corpse pile and was now carrying the two other fallen Valkyries. Blitz and Hearthstone stumbled along together, Sam close behind. I picked up the body of the Valkyrie captain. She was not light, and my strength was fading again. We have to hurry, TJ spoke, as gently as he could, but I heard the urgency in his tone. The ground was shifting under my feet. I realized my glowing aura had done more than blind the wolf. The sunlight had affected the texture of the island. The island was supposed to disappear at dawn. My magic had hastened the process, causing the ground to dissolve into spongy mist. Only seconds, Sam gasped. Go. The last thing I felt capable of was a burst of speed, but somehow carrying Gunilla, I followed TJ as he led the way to the shore. 67. No, hold on. 76. 67. One more for a friend. We've got a Frey boat, yelled TJ. I had no idea what a Frey boat was. I didn't see my boat on the beach, but I was too stunned and exhausted to ask questions. I felt like the extremes of heat and cold I'd tolerated my entire life were now taking revenge. My forehead burned with fever. My eyes felt close to boiling. My chest felt like a block of ice. I plodded along. The ground became softer under my feet. The beach sank. The waves rushed in. My arm muscles screamed under the weight of the Valkyrie captain. I started veering sideways. Sam grabbed my arm. Just a little further, Magnus. Stay with me. We got to the beach. TJ pulled out a piece of cloth like a handkerchief and tossed it into the surf. Immediately, the the cloth expanded, unfolding by the count of 10. A full-size Viking warship bobbed in the surf with two oversized oars, a figurehead carved like a wild boar, and a green sail emblazoned with the Hotel Valhalla logo. The Hotel Valhalla logo. Along the side of the prow glittered the white where the words Hotel Valhalla courtesy vehicle. And TJ jumped aboard first and reached out to take Ganilla from me. The wet sand pulled at my feet, but somehow I managed to get over the rail. Sam made sure everyone else got in safely. Then we climbed aboard. A deep hum reverberated across
Reverberated.
Reverberated across the island like a bass amp turned to maximum. The Isle of Heather sank beneath the blank waves. The ship's sails tacked by itself. The oars began to row, and the ship turned west. Blitzen and Hearthstone collapsed at the bow. They started arguing with each other about which of them had taken the stupider risks, but they were so tired the debate deteriorated into a half-hearted poking contest, like a couple of second graders. Sam knelt next to Ganilla. She folded the Valkyrie captain's arms across her chest and gently closed Ganilla's blue eyes. The others, I asked. X lowered his head. He had set the two Valkyries in the stern, but it was clear they were gone. He folded their arms like Ganilla's brave warriors. He touched their foreheads with tenderness. I didn't know them, I said. Margaret and Irene. Sam's voice was unsteady. They never liked me much, but good Valkyries. Magnus, TJ called from amidship. We need you. He and Mallory were kneeling next to half-born Gunderson, whose berserker strength had finally failed him. His chest was a nightmarish patchwork of cut and burns. His left arm hung at an unnatural angle. His beard and his hair were sprinkled with blood and smell bits of heather. Good fight, he wheezed. Don't talk, you big idiot. Mallory sobbed. How dare you get yourself hurt like this? He grinned sleepily. Sorry, mother. Hang in there, TJ said. We can get you back to Valhalla, then if anything happens, you can be reborn. I put my hand on Halfborn's shoulder. I sensed damage so severe I almost pulled away. It was like forcing myself to explore a bowl of glass shards. There's no time, I said. We're losing him. Mallory choked on tears. 9 options. No, Halfborn Gunderson. I hate you so much. He coughed, blood flecked his lip. He coughed. Blood flecked his lip. I hate you too, Mallory Keene. Hold him still, I said. I'll do what I can. Kid, think about this, Blitz said. You're already weak. I have to. I extended my senses, taking in Halfborn's broken bones, his internal bleeding, his bruised organs. Fear washed over me. It was too much, too close to death. I needed help. Jack, I called. The sword hovered to my side. Boss, Halfborn is dying. I need your strength to help heal him. You can do that. The sword hummed nervously. Yeah, but boss, the second you take hold of me, I know I'll be even more exhausted. It's not just finding the wolf, Jack warned. I also helped with the aura of golden light, which was pretty cool if I do say it so myself. And then there was the piece of Frey. The piece, I realized he meant the shockwave that had disarmed everyone, but I didn't have time to worry about that. Fine, yes, we have to act now. I grabbed the sword, my eyesight dim. If I hadn't been sitting already, I would have fallen down. I fought against the nausea and dizziness and placed the sword flat against Halfborn's chest. Warmth flooded through me. Light turned Halfborn's beard to red gold. I sent the last of my strength coursing through his veins, repairing damage, closing ruptures. The next thing I remember, I was laying face up on the deck, staring at a green sail rippling in the wind as my friends shook me and shouted my name. Then I was standing in a sunlit meadow at the edge of a lake with blue sky above me. A warm breeze ruffled my hair. Somewhere behind me, a man's voice said, "Welcome." 68. Don't be a no bro. Don't be a no bro.
Wait, the man's voice said what?
Huh?
What did the man's voice say? Welcome?
Yeah. A warm breeze
Okay.
ruffled my hair. Somewhere behind me, a man's voice said, "Welcome."
Okay.
And then 68 says, "Don't be a no bro.
All right, let's do it.
He looked like a Hollywood Viking. He looked more like Thor from the movies than Thor did. Blonde hair fell to his shoulders. His tan face, blue eyes, hawkish nose, and stubby beard would have worked equally well on a red carpet or the beaches of Malibu. He reclined on a throne of living tree branches.
You okay?
Yeah, I was just turning up the volume.
Okay, cool.
His tan face, blue eyes, hawkish nose, and stubby beard would have worked equally well on the red carpet or the beaches of Malibu. He reclined on a throne of living tree branches. The seat draped with deer hide. Across his lap lay a sort of scepter, a stag's antler fitted with a leather grip. When he
Wow, I got the
smiled,
right picture for this one.
I'd say. Oh my god! Now I lost my. Now you made me lose my place.
Sorry. Deer's antler, his smile.
A stag's antler filled with a leather grip. When he smiled, I saw my own self-conscious smirk. The same crooked chin. He even had the same callus I always got above my right ear. I understood why my mom would have fallen in love with him. It wasn't just because he was handsome or because his faded jeans, flannel shirt, and hiking boots were exactly her style. He radiated warmth and tranquility. Every time I'd healed someone, every time I'd called on the power of Frey, I'd captured a fragment of the sky's aura. Dad, I said. Magnus. Frey rose. His eyes twinkled, but he didn't seem sure what to do with his arm. I'm so glad to see you at last. I'd give you a hug, but I imagine that would not be welcome. I understand you need more time. I charged in and gave him a bear hug. That wasn't like I'm not I'm not a hugger, especially not with strangers. But he wasn't a stranger. I knew him as well as I knew my mother. For the first time, I understood why my mom had been so insistent on taking me hiking and camping. Every time we were in the woods on a summer day, every time the sun came out from behind the clouds, Frey had been there. Maybe I should have resented him, but I didn't. After losing my mother, I didn't have patience for grudges. My years on the street had taught me that it was pointless to whine and moan about what you could have had, what you deserved, what was fair. I was so happy to have this moment. He cupped his hand gently on the back of my head. He smelled of campfire smoke, pine needles, and toasted s'mores. Do they have s'mores in Vanaheim? It occurred to me why I must be here. I was dead, or at least dying again. I pulled away. My friends are safe, Freya assured me. You pushed yourself to the verge of death, killing the berserker, but he will live. So, so will you. So will you. You have done well, Magnus. His praise made me uncomfortable. 3 Valkyries died. I almost lost every friend I had. All I did was bind the wolf with a new rope and send Stuart back to Meselium. And Jack did all that work. It didn't really change anything. Frey laughed. Magnus, you have changed everything. You, the wielder of the sword, are shaping the destiny of the 9 worlds. As for the death of the Valkyries, that was a sacrifice they willingly made. Do not dishonor them by feeling guilt. You cannot prevent every death any more than I can prevent each summer from becoming autumn, or any more than I can prevent my own fate at Ragnarok. Your fate? I closed my fingers around the rune stone, now back on its chain. I have your sword, couldn't you? Frey shook his head. No, son. As your Aunt Freya told you, I can never wield the sword of summer again. Ask the sword. If you want to be sure. I pulled off the pendant. Jack sprang to life, spewing a tirade of insults. I can't really repeat. And another, yeah, yeah, he started insulting Frey.
He started cussing out the god Frey. All right.
Well, because yeah, it's kind of bad.
Yes, there's some hard feelings since he was given up by Frey.
Well, yeah, because of course Frey he shouldn't have lost the sword.
Yeah.
Tirade of insults I can't really repeat. And another thing, he yelled, giving me away so you could marry a giantess. Dude, what was that? Blades before babes? You know what I'm saying?
Blades before babes.
Huh?
Blades before babes. That's hilarious.
Yeah, blades before babe. You know what I'm saying? Frey smiled sadly. Hello, old friend. Oh, we're friends again, the sword demanded. Nah, we're done. Jack paused. Your son's okay, though I like him, as long as he's not planning to trade me for a giantess hand in marriage. Giantess's hand in marriage. That's not on my to-do list, I promised. Then we're cool. But as for this sorry father of yours, this Tradius, no bro. I willed the sword back to pendant form. No bro? Frey shrugged. I made my choice long ago. I surrendered the blade for the sake of love. But on Ragnarok, you'll die because you don't have it. He held he held he held up the deer antler. I will fight with this, an animal horn. Knowing your fate is one thing, accepting it is another. I will do my duty with this antler. I will slay many giants, even Belai, on one of their great generals. But you're right, it won't be enough to bring down Sword in the end. I will die. How can you be so calm about it, Magnus? Even gods can't last forever. I don't expend my energy trying to fight the change of season. I focus on making sure the days I have and the season I oversee are as joyful, rich, and plentiful as possible. He touched my face, but you already understand this. No child of Thor, no child of Thor or Odin, or even noble Tyr could have withstood Hill's promises, Loki's silver words. You did, only a son of Frey with the sword of summer could choose to let go as you did. Letting go, my mom, yes, Frey retrieved something from his throne, a sealed ceramic jar about the size of a heart. He placed it in my hand. You know what she would want. I couldn't speak. I nodded, hoping my expression told Frey how grateful I was. You, my son, will bring hope to the nine worlds. You have heard the term Indian summer. You will you will be our last such season, a chance for warmth, light, and growth before the long winter of Ragnarok. But I cleared my throat. But no pressure. Frey flashed his brilliant white teeth. Exactly. Much need to be done. The Aesir and Vanir are scattered. Loki grows stronger, even in his bond. He has played us against each other, distracted us, made us lose focus. I am guilty of becoming distracted as well. For too long I have been removed from the world of men. Only your mother managed to. He focused on the jar in my hand. Well, after my big speech about not holding on to the past, he smiled ruefully. She was a vibrant soul. She wouldn't be, she wouldn't, she would be proud of you, Dad. I wasn't sure what else to say. Maybe I was just wanted to cry out the word again. To try out the word again. I'd never had much experience using it. I don't know if I'm up to this. From the pocket of his flannel shirt, he pulled a tattered piece of paper, the missing flyer Annabeth and her dad had been distributing on the day I died. Frey handed it to me. You will not be alone for now. Rest, my son. I promise it won't be another 16 years before we meet again. In the meantime, you should call your cousin. You should talk. You will need her help before all is said and done. That sounded ominous, but I didn't get the chance to ask about it. I blinked and Frey was gone. I was sitting in the long ship again, holding my flyer and the ceramic jar. Next to me sat half-born Gunderson, stepping from a cup of mead. Well, he gave me a bloody grin. Most of his wounds had faded to scar tissue. I owe you my life. How about I buy you a dinner? Buy you dinner. I blinked and looked around us. Our ship had docked in Valhalla on one of the rivers that ran through the lobby. How we gotten there? I had no idea. My other friend stood on the wharf speaking with Helgi, the hotel manager, grim faces all around as they regarded the offloaded bodies of the 3 dead Valkyries. What's going on? I asked. Halfborn drained his cup. We've been summoned to the feast hall to explain ourselves before the Thane and the host of an Arjar. I hope they let us eat before they kill us again. I'm starving. Oh, so that's who Fenris smelled in chapter 63. 69. So 69, it's, oh, so that's who Fenris smelled in chapter 63. We must have lost an entire day returning to Valhalla because dinner was underway in the East Hall of the slain Valkyries. Flew around with mead pitchers, and Harjar threw bread and roasted seminar at each other. Blushes of musicians jammed out all over the room. The fiesta slowly quieted as our procession made
Procession.
its
Yeah.
made its way toward the Thane's table. An honor guard of Valkyries carried the bodies of Gunilla, Irene, and Margaret, covered with white linen on stretchers. I had hoped the fallen might come back to life when they reached Valhalla. Couldn't Valkyries become an Harjar? But it didn't happen. Mallory, X, TJ, and Halfborn followed the litters. Sam, Blitzen, Hearth, and I brought up the caboose. Warriors glared at us as we passed. The Valkyries' expressions were even worse. I was surprised we weren't killed before we reached the Thane. I suppose the crowd wanted to see us publicly humiliated. They didn't know what we had done. They just knew we were escaped rogues brought back for judgment, following the bodies of 3 Valkyries. We weren't shackled, but I still shuffled along as if the rope in Discati was wrapped around my ankle. I cradled the ceramic jar in the crook of my arm. Whatever else happened, I couldn't lose that. We stopped in front of the Thane's table. Eric, Helgi, Lee, and all the other Eric looked grim. Eric's looked grim. Even my old buddy Hudding, the bellhop, stared at me with shock and disappointment, as if I'd taken away his chocolate. Helgi finally spoke, explained. I saw no reason to hold anything back. I didn't speak loudly, but my words echoed through the hall. When I got to the fight with Fenris, my voice failed me. Sam picked up the story. When she was done, the Thane sat silently. I couldn't read their mood. Perhaps they were more unsure now than angry. But it didn't matter. Despite my talk with my father, I didn't feel proud of what we'd accomplished. I was only alive because the three Valkyries in front of me had kept the fire giant at bay, while we chained the wolf. No punishment from the Thanes could make me feel worse than that. Finally, Helgi rose. This is the most serious matter to come before this table in many years. If you speak truly, you have done deeds worthy of warrior. You have stopped Fenris Wolf from breaking free. You have sent Stuart back to Miss Helium. But you acted as rogue without the leave of the Thane and in questionable company. He glanced distastefully at Hart, Blitz, and Sam. Loyalty, Magnus Chase. Loyalty to Valhalla is everything. The Thanes must discuss all this in private before passing judgment, unless Odin wishes to intercede. He glanced at the vacant wooden throne, which of course stayed empty. Perched on the backrest, the raven fixed me with their glittering black eyes. Very well, Helgi sighed. To my left, a booming voice said, Odin wishes to intercede. Nervous murmurs rippled through the feast hall. X raised his stone gray face toward the Thane. TJ whispered, This is no time for jokes. Odin wishes to intercede, said the full half troll stubbornly. He his apparent changed. His huge trollish shape dropped away like camouflage fabric. In X's place stood a man who looked like a retired drill sergeant. He was barrel-chested, with massive arms stuffed in a short-sleeved Hotel Valhalla polo shirt. His gray hair was close cropped, his beard cut square to accentuate his hardened, weathered face. A black patch covered his left eye. His right eye was dark blue, the color of vein blood. At his side hung a sword so massive it made Jack, the pendant, tremble on his chain. The man's name tag read Odin, All-Father, Owner, and Founder. Odin, Sam dropped to one knee. The god smiled down at her. Then he gave me what I thought was a conspiritual wink, though it was hard to tell since he had only one eye. His name rippled through the feast hall. Then Harjar got to their feet. The Thanes rose and bowed deeply. Odin, formerly the half troll known as X, marched around the table and took his place on the throne. The two ravens landed on his shoulders and pecked affectionately at his ears. Well, Odin's voice boomed, what does a god have to do to get a cup of meat around here? 70. We are
Holy
subject.
cow.
Huh?
Holy cow. That's crazy.
So Odin shows up finally, huh?
Yeah.
70.
About time.
Yeah. 70. We are subjected to the PowerPoint of doom. Odin got his drink, offered some toasts, then began pacing in front of his throne, talking about where he'd been and what he'd been doing the past few decades. I was too shocked to register much of Odin's speech. I think most of the Enharjar felt the same way. The room only began to unfreeze when Odin summoned up the glowing Valkyrie version screen, and Harjar blinked and stirred as if coming out of a mass hypnosis. I am a seeker of knowledge, Odin announced. This has always been true. I hung from the world tree for 9 days and nights, racked with pain, in order to discover the secret of runes. I stood in line in a blizzard for 6 days to discover the sorcery of the smartphone. What? I muttered. Blitzen coughed. Just roll with it. And more recently, Odin announced, I endured 7 weeks of motivational speaker training at a hotel in Peoria to discover this. A clicker appeared in his hand. On all the magical screens, a PowerPoint title slide glowed with a whirling emblem with that read, Odin's plan, how to have a highly successful afterlife. What is going on? I whispered to Sam.
Odin
always-
has gotten like corporate now. He's
Yeah.
doing PowerPoint presentations.
Odin is always trying different things, she said, looking in new places for knowledge. He is very wise, but Hearthstone signed as discreetly as possible. This is why I work for Mimir. So you see, Odin continued, pacing back and forth, his ravens flapping their wings for balance. Everything those heroes have done, they did with my knowledge and my permission. I have been with them the entire time, either in person or in spirit. The screen changed. Odin started lecturing through some bullet points. My eyes kept glazed. My eyes kept glazed over. Oh, my eyes kind of glazed over. But he talked about why he'd hidden in the Valhalla as the half troll, to see how you would welcome such a warrior, and how you would carry out your duty when you didn't think I was around. You all need to work on your positive improvement and self-actualization. He explained why he'd chosen Samara Alabas as a Valkyrie. If the daughter of Loki can show such bravery, why can't we all? Samara demonstrate the 7 heroic qualities I'll be highlighting in my upcoming book. 7 heroic qualities, which will be available in the Valhalla gift shop. He explained why the Norn prophecy didn't mean what we thought it did. Wrongly chosen, wrongly slain. He recited Magnus. Chase was wrongly chosen by Loki, who thought this boy could be easily influenced. Instead, Magnus Chase proved himself a true hero. A true hero. Wow.
You're doing fine, bud.
I like Odin better as a tactic term, half troll, than as a motivational speaker. The dinner crowd didn't seem sure what to make of that heaven either, though some of the Thanes were dutifully taking notes. Which brings us to the affirmation portion of this presentation. Odin advanced his slideshow. A photograph of Blitzen popped up. It had obviously been taken during the crafting contest with Junior. Sweat steamed down Blitzen's face. Sweat streamed down Blitzen's face. His expression was agonized. as if somebody had just dropped a hammer on his foot. Blitzen, son of Freya, Odin said, this noble dwarf won the rope in Discati, which rebound Fenris Wolf. He followed his heart, mastered his fears, and served my old friend Murmur faithfully for years. For your heroism, Blitzen, you shall be released from Murmur's service and given finding to open the shop you have always wanted. Because I have to say, Odin waved his hand over his hotel polo shirt. Suddenly, he was wearing a chain-mail bag. I picked up your prototype after the contest, and it's a very fine fashion statement. Any warrior would be wise to acquire one. Dinharjar murmured in approval. Some others, some oohed and awed. Blitzen bowed deeply. Thank you, Lord Odin. I can't begin to. Could I use that endorsement from my product line? Odin smiled benevolently. Benevolently?
Indubitably?
Benevolently.
ENNOV.
Ben, Ben, EVOLENTLY.
Benevolently.
Benevolently. Of course.
Benevolent.
Benevolently. Of course. And next we have Hearthstone, the elf. Hearth's photo appeared on the screen. He was slumped in the window of Garrod's palace. He had a silly grin on his face. His hands were making the sign of washing machine. This noble creature risked everything to rediscover rune magic. He is the first true sorcerer to appear from the mortal realm of in centuries. Without him, the quest to retain the wolf would have failed many times over. Odin beamed down at the elf. My friend, you also shall be released from Murmur's service. I will personally bring you to Asgard, where I will teach you the runes in a 90-minute one-on-one free tutoring session, accompanied by a DVD and signed copy of my book, Rune Magic with the All-Father. Polite clapping. Hearthstone looks stunned. He managed to sign thank you. The screen changed in Sam's photo. She was standing nervously on the counter of Madeline's falafel.
Falafel. Yeah.
Yeah, Madeline's falafel. Her face turned aside, blushing furiously as Amir leaned toward her, grinning. Ooh, said the crowd of Enharjar, followed by a fair amount of snickering. Kill me now, Sam muttered, please. Samara Alabas, Odin said, I personally chose you to be a Valkyrie because of your courage, your resilience, your potential greatness. Many here mistrusted you, but you rose to the challenge. You followed my orders. You did your duty even when you were revealed and exiled. To you, I give a choice. Odin regarded the fallen Valkyries who lay before the Thane's table. He allowed a respectful silence to fall across the room. Gunilla, Margaret, Irene, all knew the risk of being a Valkyrie. All gave their lives to make today's victory possible. In the end, they saw your true worth, and they fought at your side. I believe they would agree you should be reinstated as a Valkyrie. Sam's knees almost gave out. She had to lean on Mallory Keene for support. I offer you a choice of jobs. Odin continued. I need a captain for my Valkyries. I can think of no one better than you. This would allow you more time to spend in the mortal world, perhaps a chance to rest after your harrowing quest, or his blue eyes gleamed. You could choose a much more dangerous assignment, working directly for me as the need arises on other arises on other. Shall we
What?
say, but yeah. So you could choose a much more dangerous assignment, working directly for me as the need arises on other, shall we say, high risk, high reward mission.
Hmm.
So that's
Cool.
So it's all like, so there's like commas, but it's not like
Yeah, no, that's cool, man.
high reward missions. Sam bowed. All father, you honor me. I could never replace Janilla. All I ask for is the chance to prove myself as many times as necessary until no one here has any doubt of my loyalty to Valhalla. I will take the more dangerous assignment. Command me, and I will not fail. This went down pretty well. This went down pretty well with the crowd. The Inharajar applauded. Some shouted approval. Even the other Valkyries regarded Sam with less or hostile expression. Very well, Odin said. Once again, Samara, you prove your wisdom. You will speak later. We will speak later of your duty. And now, Magnus Chase. The screens changed. There I was frozen. I was frozen, mild scream, as I fell from the Longfellow Bridge. Son of Frey, you retrieved the Sword of Summer. You kept it from the grip of Surtr. You have proven yourself, well, perhaps not a great warrior. Thanks, I muttered, but certainly a great Inharji. I think we are in agreement, all of us here at the Thane's table, that you, too, deserve a reward. Odin glanced to his left and right. The Thane stirred hastily, muttering, Yes, absolutely. I do not offer this lightly, Odin said, but if you still feel that Valhalla is not your place, I will send you to Volvangur, where your aunt holds court. As a child of the Vanir, perhaps that would be more to your liking, or his blue eyes seemed to pierce right through me. If you wish, I will even allow you to return to the mortal world and be released from your duties as an Anarji. The room filled with murmuring and tension from the faces of the crowd. I could tell this was an unusual offer. Odin was taking a risk if he set a precedent of letting Anharjar return to the world. Wouldn't others want to go too? I looked at Sam and Blitzen and Hearthstone. I looked at my hallmates from floor 19, TJ Halfborn, Gunnar Mallory, TJ Halfborn Valerie. For the first time in years, I didn't feel homeless. I bowed to Odin. Thank you, All Father, but whatever these friends of mine are, that's my home. I am one of the Inharajar. I am one of your warriors. That is a reward enough. That is reward enough. The whole dining hall erupted in cheering. Goblets banged on tables. Swords clattered against shields. My friends surrounded me, hugging me and clapping me on the shoulders. Mallory kissed my cheek and said, You are a huge idiot. Then she whispered in my ear, Thank you. Halfborn ruffled. Halfborn ruffled my hair. We'll make you a warrior yet, Frey, son. When the cheering died down, Odin raised his hand. His clicker elongated into a glowing white spear. By Gungnir, the hollowed weapon of the All-Father, I declare that these 7 heroes shall have full rights of passage through the 9 worlds, including Valhalla, wherever they go. They shall go in my name, serving the will of Asgard. Let no one interfere in pain or death. He lowered his spear. Tonight we feast in their honor. Tomorrow our fallen comrades shall be given to water and flame. 71. We burn a swan boat, which I'm pretty sure is illegal. The funeral was held on the pond in the public garden. Somehow, then Harajar had gotten possession of a swan boat, that the kind that normally don't fly with waters during the winter. It modified the boat, turning it into a floating funeral pyre. But the 3 Valkyries, the bodies were wrapped in white and laid on a bed of wood, with weapons and armor and gold heaped around them. The pond was frozen over. There shouldn't have been any way to launch the boat, but the Harajar had brought along a friend, a 15-foot tall giantess named Hurricane. Despite the weather, Hurricane was dressed in cut-off shorts and an XXXXL, so 4 X's in and out, t-shirt from the Boston Rowing Club. Before the ceremony, she stomped barefoot on all over the pond, breaking the ice and scaring the ducks. Then she came back and waited respectfully at the shore, her shins glazed with freezing water, while Harajar came forward to say their goodbyes to the fallen. Many left weapons, coins, or other keepsakes on the funeral pyres. Some spoke about how Gunilla, Margaret, and Irene had been responsible for bringing them to Valhalla. Finally, Helgi lit the fire. Hurricane pushed the boat into the pond. There were no pedestrians in the public garden. Maybe magic kept them away. If any had been around, maybe some glamour would have kept them from seeing the crowd of undead warriors watching a ship burn. My eyes drifted to the spot under the bridge where 2 weeks ago I'd been alive, homeless, and miserable. Only now could I admit how terrified I'd felt all the time. The boat roared into a column of fire, obscuring the bodies of the Valkyries. Then the flames vanished as if somebody had turned off the gas, leaving no trace of the boat, just a steaming circle in the pond. Mourners turned and drifted through the park, heading toward the Hotel Valhalla on Beacon Street. TJ gripped my shoulder. You coming, Magnus? In a bit. As my hallmates headed back home, I was happy to see Halfborn Gunderson slip his arm around Mallory Keene's waist. She didn't even cut his hand off for doing so. Blitzen, Harth, Sam, and I stayed behind watching steam curl off the pond. Finally, Harth sighed, I'm going to Asgard. Thank you, Magnus. I'd seen the envious look some of the Enharjar had given him for decades, because centuries, no mortal, had been allowed to visit. the city of the gods. Now Odin had agreed to teach an elf. That's awesome, man, I said. But listen, don't forget to come back and visit, huh? You've got a family now. Hearthstone smiled. He sighed, I hear you. Oh, he'll wait. Oh, he'll wait. He'll visit. All right, Blitzen said. He's promised to help me move into my new store. I'm not lugging all those boxes without some magic assistance. I felt happy for Blitzen, Blitz, though it was hard to think about it yet. Another one of my friends going away. I'm sure you'll have the best shop in Nevelir. Blitzen snorted. Nevelir? Bah. Doors don't deserve my fashion brilliance. That red or gold from Odin will buy me a nice storefront on Newberry Street. Blitzen's best will be open in the spring, so you have absolutely no excuse not to come by and get fitted for one of these. He brushed aside his overcoat, revealing a glittering, stylish, bulletproof vest. I couldn't help it. I gave Blitzen a hug. All right, kid, all right. He patted me on the back. Let's not wrinkle the fabric. Sam grinned. Maybe you can make a new hijab for me. The old one got kind of ripped to shreds. I'll make it for you at cost, with more magical properties. Blitzen promised, and I have some ideas for colors. You're the expert, Sam said. As for me, I've got to get home. I'm grounded. I have a pile of makeup work from school. And you have a boyfriend to deal with, I said. She blushed, which was kind of cute. He's not. All right, fine. Yes, I should probably deal with that, whatever that means. She poked me in the chest. Thanks to you, I can fly again. That's the main thing. I try not to die too often until I see you again. When will that be? Soon, Sam promised. Odin wasn't kidding about the high risk assignment. The good news is she put a finger to her lips. I can pick up my own strike force. So all of you, consider yourselves warned. I wanted to hug her, to tell her how much I appreciated everything she'd done, but I knew Sam wouldn't be comfortable with that. I settled for a smile. Anytime Alabast. Now that Odin has given us permission to travel the world, maybe I can come visit you in Dorchester. That, she said, is truly mortifying idea. Is a truly mortifying idea. My grandparents would kill me. Mara would. Okay, geez, I said. Just remember, you're not in this alone. Noted, she bumped me with her elbow. And what about you, Magnus? Back to Valhalla for the feast? Your hallmates have been singing your praises. Singing? Singing? Singing your praises? I even heard a few Valkyries speculating that you might be made of Thane one of these centuries. Made a Thane one of these centuries. I smiled, but I wasn't ready to think about one of these centuries. I gazed across the public garden. A taxi was just pulling up in front of the Cheers bar on the corner of Beacon and Bremer. The ceramic jar weighed heavily inside my winter coat. First, I have an appointment, I said. I have to keep a promise, I said. Goodbye to my friends. Then I went to meet my cousin. 72, I lose a bet. This is way better than the last memorial I attended. Annabeth said, yours. We stood on a ridge in the Blue Hills, watching my mother's ashes drift across the snowy trees far below the sun, glittered on Puffington's Pond. The day
You okay?
yeah, watching my mother's ashes drift away and drift away across the snowy trees, far below the sun, glittering in Puffington's Pond. The day was cold, but I didn't feel uncomfortable. I felt warm and calm, more right than I'd felt in years. I tucked the empty ceramic jar under my arm. Thanks for coming with me, I said. Annabeth's gray eyes studied me the same way she seemed to study everything. Assessing. Oh, did I say the chapter?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, did I say the number?
71,
32.
72. This is the last chapter, right?
Yeah, this is the last chapter. But then I have the epilogue, so I'm gonna read that for you.
All right, keep it going, buddy.
So 72, I lose the bet.
Yep.
Thanks for coming with me, I said. Annabeth's gray eyes studied me with the same way she seemed to study everything, assessing not just my appearance, but my composition, my stress points, my potential for renovation. This was a girl, after all, who had made Parthenon models out of runestone when she was 6 years old. Glad too, she said. Your mom, from what I remember, she was great. She would have liked the fact that you're here. Annabeth gazed across the tree line. Her face was sunburned from the wind. They cremated you. They cremated you too, you know. I mean, that other body, whatever that was, your ashes were placed in your family mausoleum. I didn't even know we had a family mausoleum. I shuddered, imagining those ashes in a propylene vase dark, uh, in a dank stone cubbyhole, in a stone cubbyhole. Much better to be here in the fresh air and the frigid sunlight. Pretending I was dead couldn't have been easy for you, I said. She brushed a strand of hair from her face. The service was harder on Randolph, I think. He seemed pretty shaken up, considering, that he never cared about me or any of us. My dad, though, Magnus, that that was difficult. He and I have had a rocky history, but I'm trying to be honest with him now. I don't like hiding things. Sorry. I spread my hand. I spread my hand. I thought it was better if I didn't drag you into my problem. For the last few days, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. Some dangerous things were happening. It had to do with my father's side of the family. Magnus, I might understand more than you think I do. I thought about that. Annabeth did seem more attuned, more grounded than most people I talked to, even most of the people in Valhalla. On the other hand, I didn't want to put her at risk or threaten the tenuous relationship we were starting to reconstruct. I'm okay now, I assured her. I'm staying with friends. It's a good place, but it's not the kind of arrangement most people would understand. Uncle Randolph can't know about it. I'd appreciate it if you didn't tell anyone, not even your dad. She said. I don't suppose I get details. I thought about it, about what Frey had told me. You should talk. You should talk. You should talk. You will need her help before all is said and done. I remembered what Sam had said about her own family, how they'd attracted the attention of the gods for generations. Randolph had hinted that our family was the same way. I just don't want to put you in danger, I said. I kind of hope you could be more one connected to the regular world. Be my one connection to the regular world. Annabeth stared at me. She snorted and began to laugh. Wow, you have no idea how funny that is. She took a deep breath. Magnus, if you had any clue about how weird my life is, okay, but being here with you, I said, this is the most normal I've felt in years. After all the crazy fighting between our parents, the stupid grudges, and years of not speaking to each other, I was hoping we could make our generation of the family not so messed up. Annabeth's expression turned serious. That kind of normal I like. She exclaimed. She extended her hand to us, the Chase cousins. Here's to being less messed up. We shook on it. Now spill, she commanded. Tell me what's been going on. I promise I won't tell. I might even be able to help. I also promise that whatever's been going on with you, my life is weirder. It'll make yours look downright some suburban. Unconsidered everything I'd been through, death and resurrection, fishing for the world serpent, fighting with giants, running from monsters, squirrels, finding a wolf on a disappearing island. How much how much you want to bet? I said. Bring it on, cousin. Lunch, I suggested. I know a great falafel place. You've got a bet, she said. Let's hear what you've been up to. Oh no, I said. Your story is so amazing. You go first. That's so. There's Annabeth. So when we read Percy Jackson, you'll get to know Annabeth more.
Oh,
Epilogue.
come on, Dennis. I'm freaking hooked on this.
I know. So I'm gonna read the epilogue now. So the epilogue.
All right, cool.
Epilogue. Randolph hadn't slept since his nephew's funeral service. Every day he vanished. He visited the mausoleum, hoping for some sign, some miracle. He cried real tears, but not for young Magnus. He wept for everything he lost, everything that might never be recovered now. He came in the back door of the townhouse, his hands shaking so badly he could barely work the lock. He removed his snow boots and his heavy coat, then padded upstairs, going over what he'd said to Magnus on the bridge for the millionth time, wondering what he could have done differently. He froze in the doorway of his office. A man in a priest's frock was sitting on his desk, dangling his feet. Visiting the gravesite again, Loki grinned. Honestly, I thought the service provided some excellent closure. You were the priest, Randolph sighed. Of course you were the priest. Of course you were the priest. Loki chuckled. A young life cut short. But let us celebrate his gifts and the impact he had upon us. I was improvising, of course, but that's what I do best. So I am Provising,
Yeah, improvising.
improvising. So
Like
I
he had
was
to improvise.
Yeah, I was improvising of gifts and the impact he had upon us. I was improvising, of course, but that's what I do best. So, okay, hold on. I said that. So screwed up.
You got this.
A young life cut short, but let us celebrate his gifts and the impact he had upon us. I was improvising, of course, but that's what I do best. Randolph had seen the god of lives a dozen times before, when Loki had chosen to send his essence to Midgard. But it
Muted.
was always a shock. Those brilliant eyes, the hair like flames, the ruined lips, and the scars across his nose. He was unnaturally handsome and unnaturally terrifying in equal measure. You've come to kill me, I expect. Randolph tried to remain calm, but his heartbeat still pulsed in his ears. Why did you wait this long? Loki spread his hands magnanimously. I didn't want to be hasty. I needed to see how things played out. It's true, you failed. I could kill you, but you might still be useful after all. I still have something you want. The god rose from the desk and opened his hand. Above his palm flames flickered, consolidating into the miniature shapes of a woman and two girls. They writhed in the fire, reaching out to Randolph, silently pleading. Only Randolph's cane kept him from collapsing.
Oh my
Please, I
God, that's
tried.
not fair to like goad him with the spirits of his dead wife and kids.
Well,
That's
I don't
evil.
think they're dead. I don't think they're dead.
So Uncle Randolph apparently has been working with Loki.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Please, I tried. So listen. Only Randolph's cane kept him from collapsing. Please, I tried. I didn't anticipate the dwarf and the elf, or that cursed Valkyrie. You didn't tell me. Randolph, my dear friend. Loki closed his hand, extinguishing the fire. I hope you're not making excuses. No, but I'm the master of excuses. You've had to try really hard to impress me. Just tell me, do you still want your family return? Family return? Of course. Oh, good. How nice. Because I'm not done with you, nor am I done with that little boy Magnus. But he has the sword. He stopped your plan. He stopped one boss. He stopped one facet of my plan. Yes, it was very educational. Loki stepped forward. He cupped his hand on Randolph's cheek, an almost tender gesture. I must say, your nephew is impressive. I don't see the family resemblance at all. Randolph smelled the poison behind before he felt it. Acrid, acrid steam curled into his nostrils. Each side of
no.
his face erupted in white, hot pain. He fell to his knees, his throat seizing up in shock. He tried to pull away, but Loki's hands stayed stuck in place. There, Loki said, soothingly. It's just a little taste of my life. The snake venom that is splashed in my face every day. Perhaps you can understand why it makes me a tad grump. Randolph screamed until his throat was raw. I won't kill you, old friend, Loki said, but I do punish failure. Absolutely. He took the hand away. Randolph crumpled, weeping, the smell of burning flesh in his nose. Why? He croaked. Why? Loki raised his eyebrows in mock surprise. Why what? Torture you? Continue to use you? Fight against the gods? This is my nature, Randolph. Now don't us, I'm sure you'll find a way to explain the horrible hand-shaped scar on your face. I think it lends you a curtain. Certain.
Yeah, certain.
Lends you a certain gravitas. The Vikings will be most impressed. Loki strolled to Randolph's display case. He ran his fingers along Randolph's collection of trinkets and talisman. Talisman.
Spell
Ragnarok
it.
has Talismans.
Oh, talismans. Yeah.
Talismans. Ragnarok has many triggers, my friend. The Sword of Summer is not the only weapon to play. He plucked a necklace from the display. His eyes gleamed as the small silver hammer pendant swung between his fingers. Oh yes, Randolph. Look, he grinned. You and I are going to have lots of fun.
Oh my God. Come on. So Loki's still in play. He's been playing everything just to see if Magnus is a threat to his plans for Ragnarok. And it turns out Magnus's uncle has been in on playing with Loki the whole time, just so he could get his wife and kids back.
So if you really want me to do some tampering, I can read the first chapter of the book, of the next book.
No, it's 727. It's a good place to stop. I must say though, I'm impressed, my friends.
Mhm.
We got that book done. We did that book justice.